you checkmate. I know you're not faking. I know you're not faking, girl. Yeah, I'm in this feeling to make me step out of the zone. Away. This feeling is so magical, I don't want it to go away. How will you come give me that? How will you roll and give me that? How will you come and give me that? Right now I want you. How will you come give me that? How will you roll and give me that? How will you come and give me that? Right now I want you.
I will praise you, O Lord, with my whole heart. I will tell of all your marvelous works. I will glad and rejoice in you. I will sing and praise to your name, O Most High. Give thanks and praise. God, you alone know the pain. No stress for my brain. Me still a hold me lane. No people, no real them just come round for gain. Like gone, my dark can't get me energy for Jane. No seminar go make it, me not ready for the game. Me sing till my weak voice still vice back sprain. Things can't be the same. Hard work are the key to life change. Who seminar go make it, I go shame. Yeah, the progress in process. Can't say me hopeless, me so blessed, me know yes. Hard work, no rest, enough night, me alone step. Me no roll left, bad mind active out there. No listen to what mouth say, get up and go there. Greatness out there, all when them doubt me as strong I'm gon' be. Turn up on my foot and fight for my glory. My time so come, Jaja done show. Stand up strong, strong up on my feet. Born fight at me, I can't defeat. Starring on my blood, man, born for do it. Born for do it. Stand up strong, strong up on my feet. Born fight at me, I can't defeat. Starring on my blood, man, born for do it. Born for do it. Firm like when my hold my. Oh, them fool me down. Angie a humble son, them can't see a stumble down. Born for this, born for when you can't see my face the ground. Strong for my feet, shark mouth can't tear me down. Enough of them a styler. Inna them that time, yeah, man a fi pre-wiser. Cause life a fi nicer. Fight the fight, win the fight, you know man a fighter. Me think them did loyal, them sell out. Stand up strong, strong up on my feet. Born fight at me, I can't defeat. Starring on my blood, man, born for do it. Born for do it. Stand up strong, strong up on my feet. Born fight at me, I can't defeat. Starring on my blood, man, born for do it. Born for do it. God, you alone know the pain. No stress for my brain. Me still a hold me lane. No people, no real them just come round for gain. Like gone, my dark can't get me energy for Jane. No seminar go make it, me not ready for the game. Me sing till my weak voice still vice back sprain. Things can't be the same. Hard work are the key to life change. Who seminar go make it, I go shame. Yeah, the progress in process. Can't say me hopeless, me so blessed, me know yes. Hard work, no rest, enough night, me alone step. Me no roll left, bad mind active out there. No listen to what mouth say, get up and go there. Greatness out there, all when them doubt me as strong I'm gon' be. Turn up on my foot and fight for my glory. My time so come, Jaja done show. Stand up strong, strong up on my feet. Born fight at me, I can't defeat. Starring on my blood, man, born for do it. Born for do it. Stand up strong, strong up on my feet. Born fight at me, I can't defeat. Starring on my blood, man, born for do it. Born for do it.
Good music, good times.
One good thing about music, when it is to
Good time. Delivering the best.
GMGT big, where the culture lives. Big, vibes big, GMGT, oh it is what it is. Smartin'.
Burning up your bandwidth. We are the best in entertainment online, period. Good music, good times, where the culture lives. Going live soon on Facebook, YouTube, and Mixcloud. Good music, good times, where the culture lives.
Ungrateful, unfaithful, never wanna see her grateful. Be careful, big man thing. They never love it when they get to youth win. The same one they go play victim, and the same one do your plot and scheme. No snakes man lay down in a bed with, quick to come share split. Don't you break bread with, we'll put shot in your helmet when you can't give them your last. They will treat you like trash. Stop hail you when them a pass. What kind of friendship? Just be careful of the ones you love the most. When you need them most, swear to God them never close. Be careful of the ones them around you. Anytime loyalty get tested positive, they will disown you. Be careful of the ones you love the most. Just be careful. Say them are your friend but not support you. Not saying they're supposed to. Sell a bag of weed, them room report you. Bring all the friends them to your front door. Don't go on like say you don't know. Them boy will cut your throat too. The mongrel dog you give the bone to will turn round bite you when you're not low. Something really wrong with mankind. They don't wanna see man shine. Look out for the sign. Cut up the heart can't clean with lies. Be careful of the ones you love the most. When you need them most, swear to God them never close. Be careful of the ones them around you. Anytime loyalty get tested positive, they will disown you. Be careful of the ones you love the most. Just be careful. Ungrateful, unfaithful, never wanna see her grateful. Be careful, big man thing.
Yo. Bad God in a man, fully. Yo, man. Leave last F40 down. Big man thing, dog. Enough style we see a crop for Gumby. When me sing them doubt me. Know the real know me. Left them on the flats they I like stony. Youth not running pa my glory. I can't cheat me fi kill me. No some mummy grow me. Pa me belly tucky. You no notice enough. Out then I want see you uplift. Boy try stop my food them. Quick man, never born rich, me born as a poor kid. Be a thugs me grow with, be a thugs me roll with, dog. I'm on that we put pan the old zig man. Coulda the damn gun pan mad the cold fridge, but me out here I do it, still I hold it, mommy. Pray for me so John I left me lonely, yeah me. Put in the work, cause me youth I grow big, yeah me. Go for my goal, score big. Believing in myself till me proud of myself. My family believing in me when no one else. Believing in myself till me proud of myself. Me G them believing in me when no one else. The road rough, enough time to a buck. Still never give up, push forward, stay focused. Studio to studio, sing till me what's up. Now everybody know me sang them from breast to chorus. Greatness did have to come, so we happy now. Man living at the sky like the moon and the sun. Mother bad mind, no can bring me down. Can't see me back on the ground. Believing in myself till me proud of myself. My family believing in me when no one else. Believing in myself till me proud of myself. Me G them believing in me when no one else. Enough style we see a crop for Gumby. When me sing them doubt me. Know the real know me. Left them on the flats they I like stony. Youth I run in pa my glory, I can't cheat me fi kill me, no some mummy grow me, pa me belly tucky. You no notice enough. Out then I want see a uplift. Boy try stop my food them. Quick man, never born rich, me born as a poor kid. Be a thugs me grow with, be a thugs me roll with dog. I'm on that we put pan the old zig man. Coulda dead and gone pa mad the cold fridge, but me out here I do it, still I hold it, mommy. Pray for me so John I left me lonely, yeah me. Put in the work, cause me youth I grow big, yeah me. Go for my goal, score big. Believing in myself till me proud of myself. My family believing in me when no one else. Believing in myself till me proud of myself. Me G them believing in me when no one else.
I'm ready today. I've got I feel all important. Hello. Oh, hey. Oh my gosh. Welcome to Hard to Hate Me, everyone. Thank you so much for being patient. Thank you so much for hanging in there. We had a little technical difficulties, but it's all sorted, okay? Hello, Tiffany.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, Swan.
Hello.
Listen, I'm Cams and I'm Turned. This is TNC, Swan, and Tiffany. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Listen, we have so much to talk about today. And I am loving the interaction on social media. Welcome to everyone that is just tuning in on our Mixcloud. Thank you for everyone that's on the IG, anyone that's listening on YouTube, Facebook Live, on WhatsApp. You guys know the number. You guys could send us messages, 347-309-5254. Big shout out to everyone listening internationally. Big shout out to Brooklyn. We are representing. Big shout out to the South.
Yes.
Okay, big shout out to Atlanta. Big shout out to everyone that voted, everyone that had an opinion, everyone that is tuning in and taking comfort in the catharsis of just, feeling human. Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
What's going on?
It's been an interesting week since the last time we spoke.
Yes, interesting. Last week was, kind of crazy. But you know what? We survived 1 week later, right? Because the week before, did we even anticipate,
No.
No. We didn't know what to anticipate. We didn't know what to expect.
I'm going to put my glasses on for this part because this is where I need to look.
We got our papers, we have our notes. Listen.
Yeah, so.
We are going to get into all the respectability politics tonight. We're going to get into all of the regularly scheduled racism that we know that probably, we didn't even, hang up. We just kind of added the extra bias from COVID. And all this is happening at the backdrop of COVID. So today I'm gonna have I feel like I'm gonna have a Spitfire roundtable. You know what I mean? And I hope you guys like the new setup. We're doing our best to be socially distant. These are the people I spend the majority of my time with. So and we're gonna get into the Black issues, and I'm so excited. We have a special guest. We have two people joining us remotely tonight. We have, as I said. Oh, I thought you were showing me something. Oh, okay. Black issues, and Monique, my friend Monique. Let me tell you something. I know Monique Macy Gore. I know that you guys have seen her all over the place. Robin Williams interviewing really that advocate for lupus awareness and exactly how they were marginalized. Survivors of lupus were marginalized, especially in this COVID. But tonight we're gonna stick a pin in some of that, and she has a lot to say about all this, our new plight for our humanity as Black people.
Absolutely.
Right? Which I feel like is a step back. You know what I mean? Because
we're doing stuff. We're doing stuff.
I feel like our humanity, because first it was for our civil rights, right? Civil rights, equality, yes. And then now I'm grieving watching someone being executed you know what I mean? And it's a step back because now I have to kind of talk to you about my humanity. So Is that progress 50 years later? Like,
Well, I think we have to put it in context, right?
Okay.
So we can have this conversation forever and ever, and we will, thanks to your show. But I think if you put it in context, that is always an outlier, no matter how much progress we get. And I'm pretty sure everybody can agree with that. So no matter how far we get, how many accolades or historical moments that we make, there is always an underlying racist
Result.
fact that we had to take that long to get here, right? And so I know for myself, I'll just take 30 seconds to say how, one, I'm very excited that we have a new president-elect and a new vice president-elect.
I could slightly relax. I could slightly relax.
Slightly, but with
I
that
ain't
being
lean back,
said,
but I could.
with that being said, I just want to say that, and I think it's important to say, and I actually saw this post. If you follow For Harriet, which is a blog of
Yes,
Black,
For Harriet. Kimberly Foster, big shout out.
Absolutely, I love her.
Listen, yes.
And I think what she said that was important is that there are different types of progressives, right? So there are some black people who are just happy to have someone black that's a woman in office. But I think we should not dismiss those people.
Yes, it's important.
And say, oh, you know what, but she did. And we know that, right?
Representation is important.
It is important, but it is not everything. But there are progressives in that area who are there to fight that good fight.
Right.
And if you're not that person, what I think the misconception is, especially when we just had this, it's already a controversial election and all of that thing. But the most important thing is that I'm going to liken it to going to a new job and everybody hate you already. Because they saw you worked at McDonald's before and now you're at Burger King. And you're like, you know what, we didn't like you over there because we heard you acted a mess, right?
Yes.
So now I'm already coming into a bad situation. So she has things that definitely she needs to address. Fine. But if there are people who are happy for her to be in that position, let's not even dismiss that, acknowledge that, but then we're going to move forward saying, okay, now we're going to make you accountable for everything else moving forward.
And we don't get to own who she inspires, right? Like, she represents a lot of, who knows? She's in a lot of spaces, communities, corporate spaces of influence, of power. Her job is, she has, I don't own who gets to say, you know what, I'm voting because of what you represent. Whatever. We need to get off of that, right? So that's why I'm there. What are you thinking, Twan?
I'm excited. I'm eager to see what is going to occur over the next few years.
Yes.
But I'm excited. It's interesting. I got into it with my mom a little bit the other day because we have different views. And by the end of the conversation, she was like, boy, you need to have some hope for something.
Yes, yeah.
And I said, you know what? You're right, Mom. Let me check myself.
Because you said a matter of fact. You did all the matter of fact. But the matter of fact, actually.
As a matter of fact.
Right.
So, and she's like, you gotta have some hope for something. And I was like, you know what? Let me scale it back a little bit.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
However.
As a matter of fact.
As a matter of fact.
Carry the one and the two.
You talk to her in that context. And then you talk to people who are on your level of thinking in that context.
Exactly.
And that's how we're going to coexist over the next 4 years.
Exactly.
So, okay, so we're saying that coexisting, which is even in conversation and what they want to focus on, I feel like a drop of truth is needed sometimes, right? Because we're talking about a generational, conversation where it's either or. Because I feel like the civil rights movement, they had to pick what was going to get them the furthest. And everyone who presented and showed up as leadership had to be really shiny, had to be respectable, they had to look the part, and we just didn't really want any issues. But right now, who knows what an advocate looks like? Who knows? You have no idea, right? So you can't discount anything because you never know where the power exists, right?
Agreed.
So I am having a hard time sugarcoating things. Even though I feel like the level right now is watch. Just watch, because a lot of people voted. Those margins are not that huge. So I'm not gonna that's why I'm not leaned all the way back. But I'm excited because I feel like CAMILLE is gonna make waves. Hey. Listen, I want to thank you. Let me just Okay, she can't hear. Okay, all right. We can continue for a second. But as I saw the Mixcloud logo, I want to say a shout out to everyone that's joining on Mixcloud. Mixcloud is really the bomb. You guys could get onto the GMGT Mixcloud, and that's where you can chat uninterrupted. Sometimes, sometimes on Facebook and IG, it gets a little like crazy, but get on Mixcloud, and you are direct in the shenanigans, and, you can really express your experience.
Which is important. And
yes.
I feel like a lot of times, especially on social media platforms, we watch a lot, we view a lot, and then we'll type something that nobody's going to see, right? Just to be fair, like even me, nobody follows me, and I'm okay with that. But if I really want to say something, I think this is the time to say it, but we can have an open conversation about it, because all of our feelings are valid, especially with this past election, especially with the racial climate going on in America right now, especially with the classism and sexism and all of those things, And so, not to pressure anybody to get those Twitter fingers going, but you can just put those Twitter fingers on Mixcloud.
But there's one feeling that I kind of don't care about.
Ooh.
I don't really care about white people's fear. I
think it's a general
their fear. Is it the general? I'm just saying, I'm slowly getting over your fear out of what you don't know. Oh, I didn't know. Google it. Go on YouTube. There's lots of things. I'm saying I'm open to having certain conversations, but when it comes to you not alchemizing your own fear by educating yourself, like this is I advocate for self-help.
Yes.
That's where I see, that's the measure for me.
Right.
If you're not motivated to and just, I don't know, out of curiosity or something, professionally, every 5 months you should be learning a new skill. Every 5 years you should be, getting certified in something, right? That is just a nice little secret for you guys to know. That's how you're assessed, right? So if you're stagnant, so every 5 days you should be reflecting on something. Every 5 minutes you should be taking a breath. You know what I'm saying?
So, Twan, I want your opinion on that. Before, what do you think about? And this is specific to our white peers out there, because again, it is nothing that is other than a fact, right? The way that we're interacting right now is a causation of things that happened.
Yes, because of our history.
Right, and so even
we
today,
are a consequence.
We've come so far, but don't mistake the conversation for being. It's not going to be the same for me and you, right?
Right.
So what do you think?
When you said you're over the fear of what the thought pattern,
the ignorant fear, I should say.
Fear, I like to. It kind of goes into a point that we talked about cognitive dissonance, because
speak on
I
it.
Challenge whether it's fear or just willful ignorance. Because
well, that is a phrase.
People know. In my mind, before someone acts and does something, you have a whole thought process going on.
Based on the lowest hanging fruit, which is the stereotype, right? And listen, that's what you want to do. Go ahead, right? I mean, it's just that I'm not going to couch the treatment anymore. Right. That's all. I mean, I can't control what you do. I'm not saying that I can live a life without any type of inconvenience, but I'm going to be like, okay, what are we going to do with that? Do you know what I'm saying? Because like if it's an older person, which is typically, the Karens are a certain age sometimes. I mean, I'm not saying, but like,
hilarious.
I've encountered a Karen before.
Absolutely.
I've had a racist, and it's not what, I mean, I'm empowered, but I was in shock. I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, I was in shock, but then the trauma after, like, oh my gosh, this person doesn't even see me as a human being. They didn't even expect me to be in this space. They're just so shocked. So everything, I'm gonna interrupt their peace, period.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? But that's my life anyway, so.
Right, yeah, it's.
Listen, I do not want to butcher the pronunciation of the curator of Black Issues, CAMILLE Holder. She is joining us. Listen, I hope I didn't butcher your first name, but you have been holding. Thank you so much for coming on board to join our roundtable, because we're Instagram friends. And now you're like, I talk to you and now you're like a real person. And you are walkie-talkie, honey. You are walking the talk. So you are Harlem resident, right? Diversity consultant, anti-racist personal trainer. I want to get into that. And she's about to knock out racism, okay? And I love the fact that you're an educator, right? And you founded a satire of solutions for racial distress. Black issues. What's up, honey?
Hey, Camille. So it's Canadians.
Totally. You speak up a little bit. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Just a little.
Oh no. Well, shit. After that, I have to.
Okay. Yeah, we kind of. Okay. We like to spell out our stuff, so you can spell it. What's up? Welcome to Hard to Hate Me. Thank you so much for joining and holding What It Do in Harlem.
So can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Perfection.
Okay,
so thank you so much for that glorious introduction. I think it's apt that we're Instagram friends and you mispronounced my name. It's perfect because our bond was more like, yo, I saw your page, I saw your content, pop, let's make this happen, pop. You'll figure out little things like how to pronounce my name, but the bigger thing is your vision, right? Oh, you're steering the ship, right? And I'm in here, I'm on your boat for the ride. Because it's a sea of tranquility, so it is all
we making waves.
Hello.
We making waves.
Flow with this metaphor.
Thank you for beloving me.
I love you.
Thank you for obliging me.
Obliging.
All right. Listen, how are you feeling as a black woman representing and advocating for our plight? Just to be seen as a human being. It's almost ridiculous to say, but okay, that's okay. We'll go with it.
So I graduated from Howard, full transparency. I'm also half Jamaican and the other half is Trinidadian.
Jamaican.
So I have a lot of tentacles, kind of wrapping around this whole Kamala Harris administration, right? But I think that the 400 plus years of the blacks, of the issues, are something that needs to be central, core, radical, down to the root. We need to get to it. And I feel like, so I started Black Issues 2 years ago because I wanted it to be a myriad of different things. But one is the question, how do Black people show up for each other when nobody white is around? So that's part of the reason why it's Black Issues.
Let's get that question. Let's really highlight that question. How do Black people show up for other Black people when white people are not around?
That's a meditation right there, that we can have a moment of silence for that.
Yes, because a lot of people got that. They got shot with that. Yeah. Moment of silence for everyone that got triggered by that and failed it.
And we're Black. That's what I always like to say.
Okay.
So this is my timeline. This I found on Google, but I put the Black Issues logo in there to constantly frame how we got where we are. There's a reason why we show up for each other or don't show up for each other in the ways that we do and don't. And a lot of times we're just at each other. Well, not a lot of times. Sometimes we're at each other's throats, and it's a whole cat and caboodle of behaviors and triggers that go back and forth. But it also, if you pull back, it has to do with this.
Right.
400 plus years. So for those of you who are on Mixcloud or on some type of sound, device where you can't see, it's a timeline which you can easily Google. Yeah. And it's red. It's red from 1619, and it's really predates 1619 because they were doing the slave trade even earlier than that, like a century before that.
That just goes to show how much mind bending it will take to get us back, right? So just as much as that's an arch that we're bending forward, you know what I mean? We're gonna have to like flip the script. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that, that's evidence of, I guess, some type of change, right? But the one change that's not happening is the forgetting, because you said never forget. So of course,
that's right.
They're not forgetting. The majority who really are interested in white supremacy, which includes some of our own kin, our own people,
True.
right? So that's why, you know, it's really important to watch. Even if you're not like physically participating, it's really important to be conscious to watch what's going on, because people are, you know, they love to pit our issues against us, and that is the crab in the barrel mentality, that I'm not going to play the political game. So if there's no material change in my life, I mean, I'm going to be like, well, what's really in it for me? Because I'm not trying to waste my time. Black women, you know, I voted and I felt like I caped another election. Do you know what I mean? You voted, you're like, how did you feel?
The same as I have in all the others.
But your hope went down a little bit, your hope,
course.
right? Because it's like being at a job that you know that boss don't care about you, but you got to go in.
Right, you got to do it anyway.
Do you know what I'm saying? But is that any different than black people? Is that any different for us as marginalized people? We're just now squeezed because everything is happening. There's something else attacking our bodies, which is a disease, right? You still got law and order attacking your body, right? Your black and brown body. You have the environment, the fracking, all of that stuff attacking Mother Earth, which is the biggest brown body, giving her liposuction every time. BBL. Fracking is literally giving her BBL. You're like, you know, liposuction. You're like pumping in gaseous solutions into the earth to extract. Do you know what I'm saying? The natural resources, and you ain't even trying to give her the massage to get her back. You just making the money, and you're just leaving. And she's over it. So she's like, I'm not going to cooperate with your diseases, so I'm gonna turn it up and see how you survive. And number two, I may just, you know, turn up everybody's attitude. They got a racist president. Black people got a president. Now the racists got a president. I don't know who Joe Biden's really representing. I mean, you know, he wears that.
Well, when I saw the post, it literally stopped me in my tracks. And
my post today, okay.
So I developed this thing called, for Black issues, I developed what I call a Blexicon. So it's just a way of talking about Black issues that centers Blackness, because I'm like, whiteness is always centered, from our dollar bills to our street signs to our buildings. You know, everything is white. So it's like, what if I purposefully make everything Black, even if it doesn't make any sense? Well, guess what? You think it doesn't make sense me saying love instead of love?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Centering whiteness doesn't make any sense either. So handle that.
So when you go in the corner store, you'd be like, let me get a bloater, a bloater.
Yeah, let me get a bottle of bloater. Yeah.
Let me get a bloater.
Let me get a bloater. Two bloaters to this table.
Right, two bloaters, please. Thank you.
Sparkling bloaters to
two black
table.
waffinas.
Thank you.
Two black waffinas. Listen,
Black
I love
waffinas,
that.
Exactly.
I love language. You know, I love the little rhetoric. I love it. So I love that. So tell me, like, what do you, what's been most difficult? Because, you know, on this show, I like to humanize creators, and it's all great to, you know, I love the fact that you're having impact, but, you know, I'm a life coach, so I want to know, how are you maintaining all of this effect? Because we know lifting all of this advocacy and, you know, I mean, you said you knocking out racism. You're a personal...
Knocking it out.
Anti-racist personal trainer.
Yeah. So...
how are you maintaining?
In between me calling you today, I had a really big client,
Nice.
like a household name global nonprofit. Like, I cried. I was like, oh wow, like
Blessings aboard, right? Cheers.
I'm doing this, and it was 1,000 people on Zoom. So I was like,
Nice.
yes. So my goal is to entertain, engage, inform, and inspire millions of people. So 1,000 people on Zoom is nothing. I'm just like, okay, great, check.
Right.
You know, so the people who hired me to do that trusted me and was like, boom, she could do it. And I did. And
Right.
I got like rave reviews. But so the reason why I show up the way I do is because, again, I have that timeline in my black rounds. So I'm constantly thinking,
Your
I'm
black
not just showing up
rounds.
in my black rounds. I'm not just showing up for me.
Listen,
I'm showing
I
up
hope the
for
people at
all.
the job, when we go back to work, when we start saying, excuse me, I want to have
That's
I have
right.
a blatitude today.
That's right.
I have a blatitude and exactly.
Exactly.
Like blood
They'll be
blood
fine.
from,
They'll be fine.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
do you have is your dictionary public?
Lexicon.
Like, can people Go check it out.
I actually need to do that. Like, I have a social media person, actually out in Nigeria on Fiverr. Shout out to Fiverr. Even
Shout out to Nigeria connection.
Right. And so when the whole SARS thing happened, I was like, hit me up, tell me something about it. But so I need to like build out my platform more to like actually show it. So like for those of you who can see, I can show it to them on their phone. I mean on my phone, but for those of you who are on
just tell them where your Instagram is.
Yeah, I was about to do that. Yep, Black Issues. So it's literally Black Issues. So issues 2 times, Black Issues. So the one that's like the pillar for me, it's kind of like how in the Muslim religion they have the 5 pillars, right? Mm-hmm. So I have my pillars with my lexicon. So the one that I like resonate with is blurgent. I'm always black and urgent.
Black and urgent.
I'm black and urgent because I got to make up for the 400 plus years of everybody else not doing, not seeing, not being who they needed to see, be, and do, right?
Right.
Like Martin Luther King was not fighting for, flowers to bloom in December. He was fighting for basic human rights for black people.
This is what I'm saying. So I feel like listen, you are taking on a lot. And I applaud you because I know that people don't see a vision that they can't carry. Wait, can you hear me?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I reacted.
Okay. I want to know, how are you maintaining
South Karens? I knew that was gonna come up because like if she's black and urgent all the time.
What's blurgent is how you keep your human self going.
Oh, my human self. So like today, I have this new apartment. So this new apartment is absolutely fabulous.
Congratulations.
Yes. I can't really. Let me see if y'all can.
Listen, sashay around your apartment.
So you're saying party at your house.
Right.
And a nice socially distanced party.
Right.
I can get 6 feet away.
Listen, I wish we could get the tour, but, we got to stay on track. And I have Monique on the line. But listen, I want to thank you.
This is 125th Street.
Oh, well, nice. shout out to Harlem.
That's
Harlem.
Apollo,
but listen, I really appreciate you joining us and sharing everything that you're doing. Please follow her at Black Issues on IG and Twitter and YouTube and everything.
Right now,
you're so sweet. If I can say one more quick thing.
Yes.
The Blagenda.
The Blagenda. What is one thing on the Blagenda?
I feel like I'm on it.
Is the Black agenda.
The Black agenda.
Until our Blagenda is something that is non-negotiable, we will continue. You can add another 100 years to this timeline. So what has happened all before, and I was prepared for you. Okay, I have puppets, I have props. Girl, this is a show.
I'm having a hard time here. I'm not sure if I'm sorry. Sorry for the audio, guys. I'm hearing like a little spotty.
Okay, because I have my earpods in, so they should work. I don't know what's going on. Sad face.
You know they're interrupting us. But listen, it's about 8:48 right now. I do have another guest. I really appreciate you joining. I appreciate you spending time with us. Thank you so much for joining Hard to Hate Me.
So appreciate
Black
it.
Issues. We're going to be in touch.
Black Issues. Stop being cookie monsters. No more crumbs. No more crumbs.
Listen, we need everything, including humor, to heal this racial divide. Okay?
Boom. Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, indeed. So what do I do now? I stay on, I click the thing. I have no idea.
I mean, I feel like you look cute. I don't know. Should she stay on?
Kareem's going to disconnect you.
Okay, cool.
Oh, boom.
Thank you.
Bye.
I love her glasses.
I need some new glasses. Whatever.
Listen, thank you so much for joining us at Hard to Hate Me. We just had on Black Issues, Kanini, Io Holder, and big shout out to Harlem and the diversity that she's trying to help implement up there. Thank you, and intro to Monique. Hi, so much. Listen, thank you so much for. I'm looking this way. I'm
looking everywhere because I love you. So I'm looking everywhere.
Monique, hi.
Hi, my loves. I hear Tiffany's voice.
Tiff, I am so happy when I realized just how much my friends, they know each other. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I am blessed and highly favored to be here with some amusing, creative, and very intentional people. You guys, thank you.
Thank you. Says one to another. How are you doing? Monique? Super woman.
You know what? I just thank God that I'm able to do what I'm able to do. And I remember that last question you just asked, that sis about how she's doing and what she's doing to maintain. I have been a lot more mindful of that the past few months.
Yes.
Kind of going back to some of the tenets that got me to this place of health.
Back to basics, right?
I want to remind people that they need to, yes, we definitely want to be intentional. We definitely got to be urgent, but we need to make sure there's balance in that.
Yes. So I want to, in case you guys don't know, Monique, I want you to just give everyone this spiel, including how did you get to be, how did you end up face to face with Robin?
Right, an international influencer, ma'am.
Tell us, your plight in this fight.
It's interesting that you say that, right? Because it has been a journey. And I always have to remind people, like, I did not just arrive. We never just arrived to a place. Everything that we're doing, proceeding up to it, around it, the steps that we take back, the pitfalls, that's all part of getting to a place. And so when people are like, you've made it, I'm like, I've been making this. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
This has been in manifestation because God created something inside of me, despite of the health issues that I've had, despite of adversities. It's been something that's been in place for a while, even when I didn't have the vision for it. But it was just about when it was going to be manifested. And for quite some time, I don't even want to call out our ages right now, right? But we've known each other for at least 20 years.
Listen, honey.
It's fine.
We are in.
It could be more, right?
We are in.
And so,
Yeah.
No, I said we are in.
Yes.
We are in. We're so in.
Yes. And so, coming from that place where I thought I could do everything, I didn't really need all of the, I didn't need a village in the way that I thought I could. Like, I had this autonomy to do things, move and stick as I wanted to. That took a lot of energy and it took a lot of weathering. And, when we get to these places, even that are pitfalls in our life, I was diagnosed with lupus, I was angry for so long. I was resentful. There were so many different things that were going on. I felt like I had done a really great job of taking care of myself. I was very athletic.
Yeah, you were really,
I ate well.
Were fit. You came from a family.
All these, I did all these different things that I felt would complement my well-being. And I was like, how did I end up here? How did I end up being sick? This is not supposed to be my story, right? And I had to understand that my story also encompassed everything else. All the trauma that happened in my life and all the weathering and all the places that I showed up and that I was taken for granted and the places that I was dismissed and all of the hurt and all of the disappointments, all of that also comes with the journey. And that also was part of the diagnosis that I did not want to accept. I just wanted to get something, get on my way and get moving. And I was at a really low place for a really long time. So being in that low place for that amount of time and beating myself up allowed me to really do a self-assessment and take stock. And so when I tell you that I can sit in front of people and it doesn't have to be about me, what I'm going through, I've learned now to tap into where are other people at with their journey. Yeah. What are they able to get up in the morning and feel good about themselves? Because I wasn't able to do that for quite some time. Right. And people thought that I was still thriving. And I was like, I wish someone would come and see about me. So now versus trying to move so fast and be so urgent and have this flow, I'm really just trying to be intentional and be present with people and see them. Because people are going through things. People are going through things, they're hurting, and they're getting sick over so many different issues.
Yeah.
For me, it happened to have been lupus, and lupus is a form of inflammation, and inflammation manifests itself in so many different ways. But where does that inflammation come from? You understand what I'm saying? What are we holding on to? What are we harboring? It's not just about bad health and bad diet.
Yeah. You know,
what's the energy that we've been carrying? So all of that has really helped, just really kind of honing in on that, doing a self-assessment. It's not easy. You know, I say all the time, when you hear me talk about lemons, people think that it's a catchy phrase, but lemons are hella bitter. You got to do some squeezing with lemons to get something out of it. So I have been squeezed on in order to be able to get to this place where I can sit in front of a Robin Roberts and talk with her with certainty and feel like I belong there. Right? Like I felt like
you were owning the whole thing.
I felt like I belonged
in speaking with her. On that,
I was like, go on it.
People need to follow you.
I was so inspired. I was informed. I was just like listening to the whole, it was just right on target. And that's, I mean, you've always been that. So I was like, as if, come on.
And humble.
Come on, America, as if. This is just what she's going to deliver. And you know what? That's why I was so excited that, you know, you were able to join us tonight, because I didn't really want to talk about lupus. I felt like I am always seeing, you're always talking about that. Like, you have other parts of your life. How are you feeling as a voter, as a woman of faith? Do you think that we are investing too much in politics?
So here's the thing, right? I've been having some interesting conversations in some health and science mediums. And if I'm not talking about health, and I'm not talking about mental health, I'm reminding people that that's your form of activism. We're intersectional people, and our agenda is whatever we want it to be at that time. So if I want my agenda to be driven by health, that's what I'm voting by. If I want my agenda to be driven by my sexuality, that's what I'm voting by. But it also includes the values. And so for me, I couldn't be out, you know, on the street as much as I wanted to. I wanted to be marching. I wanted to be protesting. I was lobbying in other different ways and writing congressional amendments in different ways. So I found my strength in doing activism the way I know how to do it.
And what you're more, you know what I mean? And that is what's important, right?
Yes.
Because if you don't have skin in the game, if you're just having a type of like a facts from the past, like this is just what it's supposed to look like, and you're just following orders, then you're not, it's just, you know, you need to be heard a little bit.
Yes, and I say to people all the time, have an ask. If you show up someplace and you have a platform, you need to have an ask. You know, our sis was talking about the agenda. We can't just thinking like I'm going to be meeting with. Right. You know, we need to be able to seize the opportunity in the agenda the ask that I have. It always should be tied to someone else. Is it tied to Camille? Is it tied to Tiffany? And when I say that as well, it's also the community, because when I'm talking about addressing health disparities, that's very much tied to barriers in the Black community, the brown community, the LGBT community, access. And so when I say, you know, this is what I need to see from my next president, my next administration, my next congressional member, I don't want anyone to judge just me on the Black agenda, right? But I also want to know, what is your ask? So if I get in front of them, I'm not only addressing what my imminent need is, but I could bring your agenda.
That is being an ally. That is what I want from people, to interrupt the space, know what is the correct narrative, because you're going to encounter people with outdated information. You're going to. How are you interrupting
what I think is important to note, which is what Monique addressed on just now, is that as a voter, we are multifaceted, right? So when they give you these platforms, they always tell you like these three key things, right? Taxes, healthcare, education, right? And criminal, all of that
immigration.
Stuff. But the thing is if you as someone can, because I can't focus on everything. I really can't. Like I can't say that I.
But they act like they can't walk and chew gum at the same time, like. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's, you know, and I'm, okay, trust me if I'm going far out, but that's the thing, like, to have this on one president, on one man, right? And then if you remember, like with Biden and Obama, for Biden to even like get on board with Obama, he's like, well, I want to be the person with the last opinion in the room.
Yes.
Well, see, this is
Do you know what
I-
I'm saying? So Kamala better have that.
Right,
Kamala.
Right. So here's my issue. Not my issue with that. My counter argument with that is, we're talking about the candidate. I am talking about the voter. Right.
Okay.
So my issue is, as us with voters, we are also people like this whole. It's almost like when you go to a job and you're selling yourself. No, you have to sell yourself to me to even want this job, right? Mm-hmm. So as me as a voter, this is what's important to me. So if it's healthcare, maybe that's the one thing I harp on.
But I just don't want them to pit one against the other, as if I am interested, if what's important to the Caribbean community, like this is good music, good times, right? So we really service the Caribbean community in America, around the world. This is the equality, which is the culture. So what's gaping in our community is immigration issues, right? So
immigration.
You know what I mean? So I need to know, what are you doing with chain migration, because 45 was getting crazy with that. You know what I'm saying? I need to know, what are your relationships with international communities that I need to be able to go, to visit family or just do business or whatever. Like, it is part of my wellness lifestyle. Like, what are you doing? Do you want me to show up and as a citizen and do my part and deposit my talent, so to make America really turned up again, or not? Do you know what I'm saying? So unlock my culture, come up off of it, and but now, as I said, now I gotta take a step back and convince you that I'm a human being and cater to your fear and all this stuff. I am not.
It's a lie. It's a lie. And the thing is like, and I feel like as people in this country, when I say people, I mean anybody. If you're a legal or a legal immigrant or a resident or a citizen, wherever you are.
Well, say undocumented.
An election.
Say undocumented.
Huh?
Say undocumented.
Oh, undocumented. That's what I'm saying. Well, when I say illegal, I mean that in the legal sense, though. When I say illegal, that's what I mean.
I'm trying to be. No, I'm learning. No, listen.
No. When I say illegal, I don't mean like you don't belong here. I mean, in the law, that's why they do what they do. Like so, but I don't mean it in that way. But what I'm saying is that the election is just one facet of us living in this country.
Right.
And it just happens every 4 years.
Are we putting too much? Because now you had families breaking up,
right.
You had marriages.
It's a lie.
You know what I mean? Let me ask you, if you had a friend, a longtime friend, they were Republican before Trump, because some black people are Republican. Listen, they're about their business, whatever.
Yes, they are.
If they're Republican, and if you had a friend, they voted for Trump.
I'm not fucking with you, and I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Okay.
Bleep that out. I'm sorry.
Bleep that
out. I'm so sorry.
Tiffany already answered.
Sorry.
Are you gonna still be their friend, Tuan?
I actually have 3 friends that voted for Trump. Black friends.
Currently.
Don't tell me their names, Tuan.
Are you still their friend?
I am.
Okay. Monique, will you still be their friend?
We've had this conversation. Your friendship, you become associate. Hi, goodbye. But I see you now. I really see you.
This is, that's what I'm saying.
Because the relationship now has changed.
The watchfulness. It's important for us to have the
intentions are different
right now. Just, because again, how large were the numbers, really and truly?
4 million, right? So right now, I think we're sitting at like 4 million votes that separate Trump from Joe Biden. That is not a lot.
That is not a lot.
That is not a lot.
And let's not act like, listen, I was looking at a bunch of videos today, like, the fat lady did not saying it is not over. He can manipulate some stuff. He's already saying he is not leaving. Do you know what I'm saying? He's probably nailing himself to the bed right now. And he's just not leaving. So, and what is that? Bill Barr and all of his like henchmen, they're acting as if this is not traumatizing. Like,
well, here's my thing though.
It's
so,
just,
and that's the thing.
You're joking about it.
What gets me is with the media, right? Because unless you are a poli-sci major in college, like you're really not going to understand a political process like that. And I am not one.
No, but it's important for us. That's what they're depending on. I feel.
But my issue is, so like you can't talk to me and tell me about, oh wow, you know what, they're stealing votes. But when you break it down, right? When you break it down, stealing votes really only makes when you do a recount, it has to be under a certain number
Right,
of
it's
votes.
total BS
When
when
it's
it's
30,000,
but he's
70,000,
allowed.
you can recount all you want to. Stop doing this. Stop sitting in the White House doing this right now.
Because listen, the Republicans have not even said congratulations. Everything as far as their legacy, what they're known for. Yeah, but in secret. Do you know what I'm saying? No one's really coming out and say, okay, all right, this SHIT show is over.
Even if you're doing a recount and you know the Electoral College has the final say, well, what's the point?
It's not gonna happen. So why are you? And the thing is that you're making jokes about, oh, we're gonna make a peaceful transition to the Trump administration. Like, sir,
you know why?
Why
Because
are you
they know
doing
their base.
that to people?
Because the Trump base believes that.
But that's on,
They believe that.
and that's what I'm trying to say. So, it's not kind, right? Because Dave Chappelle went up on Saturday Night Live and was like, "Oh, we need to be, we need to be more aware of people who are like devastated, who really wanted, Biden to lose all this stuff." And I'm like, why do I have to now accommodate? Because when you were voting, he's like, he's just trying to be mindful of real depression and real poverty and real, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, are we putting too much into this political, like we're looking for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to be our salvation and everything, when it's like, girl, they're not going to be responsible for changing your life.
That's part of an extension of what we've been tied to in the hierarchy of a caste system of colonialism. And so we look for this white horse. And unfortunately, a lot of the people of color who say they're part of this conservative agenda, they are tied to what their idealism of success is, what capitalism is, what making it is.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
Wait, did Monique cut off? Yeah. Right in the middle of the point. Yes.
Small.
But listen, she's back. Okay.
Who does that come from?
Right.
You base it off of a narrative of a white man. That's again a whole other system that has nothing to do with you.
Is your goal dominance? Do you want do you want to be in white? Do you want white privilege?
No, and it's sad that I have to say it. I just want to be
if this is a formula that we want to work with to feel like we're winning.
No.
Do you Monique, do you want I know we all want wealth, right? But do you want like privilege, and do you want that? Like, do you want the ideal? Do you want a white fence and picket fence and all that stuff? Do you want that? I want a condo and a doorman that I could blame. I don't really want.
What I want is I want the opportunity. And if I can sit here as someone, right? And it's one cliche, because I don't believe everyone has to again be like educated to be anything, right? But I did that whole thing they tell you to do, like, right? If you want to make it, go to college, get a good job. I've done all that, and I'm still treated like crap.
And that's the thing, right? Black humanity is still not recognized by the law, in policy, in people's minds, just the environment, the culture. It is now normal it was made normal to be racist. You know what I mean? How many years did it take for us to have the Crown Act to just get up off black women's hair? Do you know what I'm saying? We didn't even address the trauma of all of that, right? Because we feel like once we get a policy, okay, everything is great. Really?
Yeah, paper.
You're from the South.
Well, he's from technically.
You're the Geechee people.
Well, my family is.
Family is the Geechee people. No, I like, not that I like that or whatever, but I'm saying, like the Caribbean people, right? Isolated, as far as preserving the culture. Not that they don't want to integrate, but we just really want to hold on to the last breath of what we have, which is the culture.
Yes.
When we do need to kind of give a little, right? Because it's not ours to keep. We're the ones tasked to remember it and keep it going, but we're not the gatekeepers. You know what I mean? How are you telling your family? You said you got in an argument with your mom 3 weeks ago, but I mean a disagreement, or you had to scale back with some of your. But you really wanted her to get what point?
That we can't sleep. That you know the system. Like you're older, you created me. You've been here before. You know the system. Don't get so blindsided that we think that again that there's a white voice coming to save us. That's not the case.
Right. Because I know that I don't think Joe Biden's talking to me. when he's like, I'm going to be the president for you. I don't think he's talking to me, really. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I know maybe on paper he's talking to me.
But is he?
You know?
We
well, as far as our resume, right? If we were to put our, you know, maybe because we're workers. Do you know what I mean? We've worked.
You know what I feel too, and this is something I've always said in general about people who are in institutions of anything. It could be anything, right? You need validation. And if you can't get it for yourself, you're going to put it on someone else, right? I am not asking. Joe Biden cannot save me. Kamala Harris cannot save me. The government is not going to save me. And if we think like that, we're always going to be in this perpetual situation of helplessness, right? Where it's like, and so my thing is, what I want is just not even a level playing field, because clearly that's not happening anytime soon either, right? So like, and that's just
But
me.
can we
That's just
create
me
that?
saying
But but why can't we create
Maybe
a
when I'm not here,
Listen,
yes.
I've created a space of French. I can have certain conversations with you guys. I'm not scared to go certain places with you guys. I'm not scared to go any place, you know, have a, you know what I'm saying? It's possible, right? So like, it's okay for us now to make our argument for material change. If it's a matter of like, Black issues, it's about the rhetoric. It comes down to us thinking Black in everything that we say when we're looking with the eye to say, okay, what am I gonna get? With you, you're like, listen, I went to college, I did this, I'm doing that, I'm still disrespected. I still don't feel, but I'm still voting, I'm still engaged, I'm still involved. You know, tasked with possibly not sugarcoating, but I mean, older generation, they don't really want the whole intellectual pain though. They don't want to hear. They don't run to any type of emotional discomfort, but they're always in a state of worry. That's why they cling on so much to hope. Like, oh, you gotta believe in something, but it's like, but you gotta analyze stuff to continue to believe in it.
I think it's generational too. I think during the civil rights movement, it was finite things that we wanted, right? So it was like finite things, and then no, this needs to be legal for us to be able to do it. Right now, we're on something else now, right?
Which is now what, to make our humanity legal? You know, in the UK, it's illegal to be racist. In the UK, it is illegal to be racist.
And I can say that, so anybody from the UK tell me you're not.
And right now in Germany, there's real intellectual. You'd be so proud, Twan. There's real intellectual. Tiffany, you too.
I know.
Intellectual conversations about even like removing the word race out of certain aspects of our lives, right? Because why do you need to know someone's race if it's not a matter of maybe medical history, right?
But
what else? What else would we need?
I don't like saying devil's advocate because I'm not devil's advocate.
No,
but I'm really asking,
I appreciate that.
I'm really asking for myself. Why isn't it important that I am Black and I'm coming into a hospital and I need this?
Well, they're not saying that race should not be.
But you can't do that because that's just.
They're saying that as far as it being a metric in everything, because
a metric race comes from a construct, right? Race was a construct that was made up to separate people.
Exactly, it's how it's being used. So this is how finite they're going down. They're saying, listen, it is essential that we change the mindset, right? Which is, can we look at some of the policies that now that the first thing they want to extract is, okay, who all over there? Who all Black people over there? You know, that's the first thing they want to extract. So that's how deep they're willing to say, let's peel back Constitution or a policy that's how many years old to say, okay, this is triggering for people, and let's just not even.
But we know that though. Look where we are.
But look at what's happening in like Germany. It's like, but it's not.
But I think that's why Kamala, even though we're not going to be putting all of everything on her shoulder, she has an important place because we have to center Black women in an experience. If we can start centering Black women, we can center the wellness, we can center economic status, we can center stability. Underrepresented populations grow from there. That's how everybody else grows. But it has to be from scale, not just because we're the end result of the product. We literally have to be the ones involved in the policy making, tearing it down and building it back up, and not just saying like, oh well, you get the reap the benefit of it.
Right.
But we only get to it you gotta be in it. You know, you might not like how everything feels. You might not want to bear the brunt of it, but you do have to take some ownership in there.
Right.
And so, you know, Kamilla's role is going to be essential, and whoever else is going to be in the cabinet, but also what we're doing here, because we hope whoever's listening to this, something is going to grab their attention and they can say, what non-for-profits do I know working in this space? How can I donate to them?
Right.
What policies are they working on? What bills are they working on with their congressional members? You know what? There's no hospital in my neighborhood. There's no food bank in my neighborhood. There's no bank in my neighborhood. There's only, you know, places. Exactly. So when you start to have these conversations, it's like things don't grow in the darkness. They need light. We give light to conversations that we have. But Black women are the ones that have these conversations most of the time. Let's just keep it real.
Yep.
So we have to center them. We need to make sure that they're a part of every single one of these conversations, so it translates into something that's actually tangible. Because otherwise, it's like we're just getting on and just talking heads.
Yeah. And that's,
so
and that's
we have people that are going to be able to we have people that are going to be able to move things forward, and we're not in the capacity. We need to fund them. We need to invest in them. We need to give them a spotlight. We need to say, what are the tools that you need that I can help you do this? Because I don't have the education. I don't have the but I do believe in what we all need to do to make this happen.
So let me ask you guys a question. So do you think we should ride the facts or the experience? Because I feel like my truth is a testimony. Like if you say, okay, because now they're advocating for us to come and tell our stories or whatever. So I feel like when someone says, listen, this is my truth, this is my lived experience, this is now my invisible is made visible, now my humanity is felt globally, not just in America. We have advocates all over the world, right? How...
You know what I say to that? Your experience isn't for everyone.
Right.
You've been living your experience out for however long it is you've been walking around. And so now I need to be a bleeding heart for you all over again. You missed it. You missed it.
Get off the bus.
Right. So when you now you have to like really have ownership over your experience and who you decide.
Right?
Yes.
And this is okay. That is perfect, because now that goes to my next point, and it grounds us back to the question: we all are spiritual people here, right? So we can take it to that level, right? You know that a part of your journey is having having like challenges. And it's having challenges that just their job is to not change. People in your lives that are just they're never going to be impressed with you. Their job is to be fixed in not liking you or not letting you pass, to see how much you want it, to see how much you appreciate yourself, to see how much you're going to scale up, to say, okay, well, I may not be able to, win you over, but at least I don't need you in my way. How do we finesse that conversation? You know what I mean? That is on the table for us. And that requires us to move away from race. Not move away as in like not be mindful of it, but it's almost like, yes, I know that this is going to be an experience that includes your feeling about my race, or your feeling about my gender identity, or my gender expression, or my style choices, or who I choose to hang out with.
Right.
How much of that... So what do we ride? Do we ride the facts of why we're supposed to be in a room? Because if you're credible, you got the credentials, you got the experience, you got the truth. So when you're in the space of, the science spaces and all those like technology, what are you riding on? Are you riding on the fact that your fact or your experience?
It's both. It's both.
Yeah.
And honestly, I say that because even if I get there and I can't counteract all those things that are coming at me, I just learn my muscles are up for this. It's been for me to jump all over. Sometimes I need to really listen and observe. And I need to also show them that what the perception of the person that they think is coming in is not that person. I'm not going to be the angry Black woman. I'm not going to be the one that's going to be holding this very over the top conversation that you think, is going to set you straight.
Right. So that's the thing. We get to own the experience, right? You get to own the experience. Yeah, you get to own the experience. But at the same time, it's like, let me ask you, how much of that even if they have a thought about us, like they have a stereotype that they want to work in, like, when do you start being you? Do you just play the game, or you know what I mean?
Well, so I know for myself, I can say that my experience and that's like my experience as a black woman and my experience as a professional go hand in hand. And I'm unique. I'm unique in that because I can say that, but I'm also it's almost like a double-edged sword, right? But I can also say if I go into a room, and I'm pretty sure Monique can definitely say this.
You can represent
as a lemonade maker, right? So when I go into a room and we're talking about racial disparities in healthcare, you're not going to talk to me about that when I have family members who've experienced that, right? So I can bring that experience on top of me having the actual professional educational knowledge on that as well.
You're aware of the conditions,
right?
And so, which I feel like when you're in the room, it's important to be aware. On top of your experience, you need to be aware of the conditions.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And then you need to be aware of the results and the outcome. And that's what is kind of painful, even watching how this COVID pandemic was being handled, because they know what affects, you know, the people who are the lowest totem pole in society. They know this, right? And they also know that you can tell the health of a society, any community, by looking at the women and the children, right? They already know this. Anthropology, so, like, they already know this, right? So they knew that if they knew that it's gonna be tough. People are gonna die because we already have pre-existing conditions, and you know, so, but is that the fight now? Because we're talking about politics and looking at Trump as a legacy, as a way, representing a mindset that now came into the president's office, that now mobilized.
You know, it's funny
you get my point? Like,
go ahead, Monique.
And so,
you get what I'm
were you saying, Tiff? So it's interesting because the two intersect, right? It's kind of like, I've been having this conversation. You can't separate it. When we talk about people of color and marginalized communities and those who are in the LGBTQIA, we talk about them being underrepresented, and we talk about them being predisposed. And we have to really peel back as to why they are predisposed to preconditions. Our bodies have been weathered, have been betrayed. We've been marginalized. We've been subject to the ills of society before the foundation of the Society of the United States of America. It is factually shown that when your body is subject to showing up in these places, you internalize that. It creates inflammation. Your arteries get smaller. Your veins get smaller. You cannot produce and function, you know, the same sort of cells that you need to, that a regular thriving person does. So guess what? When you get to a place where you're 50, 60 years of age and they talk about Black women, you know, and strokes and heart attacks and different sorts of cancer, it's not just because we're predisposed because we didn't take care of ourselves. It's because these black bodies, these underrepresented bodies have been subject to so much weathering, so much that at a point it literally is breaking down, and we are exposed to everything externally that makes itself available.
That's why it was mind-boggling to me to see how much
and so that's why we really have to make sure that the tenants are in place to address those social determinants. It's not just because, the neighborhoods we live in, but why? Right. You understand what I'm saying? The jobs that we work on. When we go to some of these jobs and you sit in a room and you're like, I'm trying to have a conversation, but no one's paying attention to me. That is nerve-wracking. You are internalizing that.
Stress, yes.
You hear when people talk about literally making themselves sick. That's what's happening to a lot of us.
Microaggression at work.
Well, the thing too is like so I do research, right? And so I always make it a point to always say, well, what's the epidemiology behind that though, right? So why are we more predisposed, right? And like you said, they don't want to measure it because when they measure it, it can't be quantified. Right. Our stress cannot be quantified. So I'm like the things that we went through,
Tiffany.
right? No, but and so that's why when we always ask about it, and I'm telling you, I see it so much. We're like, oh well, African Americans are 2 times more likely. Do you think any Black woman in this country was surprised when they said, oh well, COVID is going to affect Black women more than anybody? We weren't surprised about that. or black men or black children, any of that. So it's like,
we were surprised, right?
And I
Exactly.
want to insert now too. I mean, while we're, you know, that is a fact. Other marginalized communities, like you know, trans communities
Yes.
and homeless youth, it's like they're already outside. So they're now, while they're saying it's up to us, wear a mask, get socially distanced, you're still speaking about that as if like that's not a luxury for certain people. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're assuming that I can socially distance based on where I live.
Absolutely.
You're assuming that I have an address. You know,
Because we're not addressing the barriers. You know, we make assumptions on saying people can get telehealth or digital this, but do they even have access to internet? Do they have a place where they can shelter in place?
And the
you know,
people
do
that
they have
Donald Trump are
a
talking to-
family structure? And, you know, it's kind of like what I was saying when we talk about underrepresented communities. We always talk about, we focus on what we think is diversity. We think Black people is diversity, but we're not a monolith, right? So
And
when
we
you
don't
talk
look
about
up.
the intersectionality
we don't
of
look up
people,
between our,
when you
you know, our
when you
four
talk
walls.
about the intersectionality of people and you're like, well, I'm a woman, I'm a person of Caribbean descent, I'm in the LGBTQIA community, and I might live, let's say, in Flatbush, you literally hit off like 4 or 5 rings right there,
I'm
right?
a mother
But
to
they
a
only want to focus on one thing,
it's
that one
a
piece.
lot.
it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's a burden to carry, and not even a burden in terms of like, it's only a burden because it's so much compounded.
And
right?
like Twan, now you're taking on the responsibility of just to be a little bit more gentle, even in the information that you dispel to your mom. And it's like that alone is like, okay, but it's really important. I'm not gonna be here all the time.
And his mom
I
is
need you
the
to
bomb
get
for the record. His mom is
yes,
the bomb. So
yes,
she's amazing.
She is. So
let me tell you, our parents, you know, they ride the facts. They don't care. They're like,
That's
yes,
true,
blah blah blah. While
Right.
we're like, yes, but sometimes you can perceive it a little bit differently. And so, how do we get to change? Because it is perception, right? I don't want you to not see that I'm Black. I want see that I'm Black, but I don't want you to perceive me in your fear of Black people.
And I wouldn't say I don't want you to be fearful of me, because I mean,
You don't want to be tried.
That's your own.
Right.
If you're fearful of me, that's your own thing. But acknowledgement of my difference should not be a negative thing. You know, like acknowledging each other's differences, it should be something that we're all proud of. Yes, I'm different. Yes, my skin is different, but yours is different, and you should celebrate something about yours.
We're all rare. We're all rare and unique and stuff. And
the bottom line is, give me my money.
Period.
That's what I want.
give me the bag.
That's what I want,
Listen,
my money.
Monique, there's a lot of money in lupus research and the science behind it. There's a lot of money in science to spirit stuff. There's a lot of money in research.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's a lot of research. There's a lot of money in
It don't trickle
cultures,
down, though. It don't
indigenous
trickle down.
cultures that, you know. So, okay, it goes back to the question, back to regularly scheduled bigotry and racism. You know, are you going to give up your privilege that you have? Because you know Black people got privilege too, right?
Where I have it at? I don't know.
Right? Are you willing to give up your privilege? What privilege do you have?
I have privilege within communities, microcosms of
Yes,
communities.
yes.
You know,
Right.
Yes.
but,
Are you willing to give that up for the greater?
I would like to say yes, I am, but I don't. You know, I can't quantify that. Like I don't know what that.
I feel like that's a loaded question, only because.
Of course, I'm gaslighting.
Right? No. I only feel like it's a loaded question because because then that's when that whole right dichotomy within what we're already discussing as Black people becomes like, now you got privilege over me now.
This is outlining my concern, right? Because again, everything is all like, yes, but as a community. I'm like, actually, I don't have to prove my love for the community by being in the community. Part of me being power for the community is helping myself, developing myself, so that when I get into spaces, I am taking a mile because they're trying to give me an inch.
I don't think anyone would be upset with that. I wouldn't be upset with that.
But the Karens are.
Oh, we don't care about them though.
But I will have to encounter the Karens in the room who kind of forget. Again, this is the fall. People kind of want to relax. There's a lot of catharsis. There's a lot of like people like, oh, I can breathe. They haven't had a deep breath. They haven't exhaled in how many years? 4 years. So everyone's exhaling. Everyone's like, but it's not done and dusted. It is not. The work is just begun. And you have a large part of the generation who are, you know, the older, the traditional generation, right? Right, but then y'all the one out there advocating for the Obamacare, the Medicare, like the this, the that, like you guys are about to retire, hence the reason that is one of the main issues. It's like before when the millennials, everyone cared about the millennials, all the politicals were like, oh, the millennials. Why? Because they were the largest generation about to join the workforce, so that's why the focus was on them. Now everyone's gonna retire, people, you know, so that's the focus. So that's who's gonna like be the community focus, I should say.
You know what's funny about that too is like, again, it's a double-edged sword when it comes to media, because if you look at
because the media.
If you look at the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare, which I interchange that, but sometimes I don't want to call it that because it's not just about Obama. But if you look at that, people always say, well, why should I have to be required to get health insurance?
Just in case insurance.
But then in the same breath, you will say, well, in Canada, it's already given to us. Yes, because you pay into that. In London, you pay into that, right?
Yeah.
And even if you don't, but the thing is also, it also said, okay, if you're 26 years old, I know for a fact when I was 22 and graduated college, my mom and dad said, you are checked off, go get your own insurance, right?
Right.
But I still could have been 26 working for 4 years already under my mom and dad insurance. And so, not to even go on Obamacare, because you can definitely, if you disagree with it, I am totally okay with that. I have private insurance, so I understand. However, when they change the narrative to the masses in America who don't, because some of us will go and look and do research and delve and go down. I go down rabbit holes. I know Twan does. I know you do
too. Love a rabbit hole.
I know Monique, you won't say you do, but I know you go down a rabbit hole. That's why you're so smart.
That sounded crazy. I said that. Love a rabbit hole. That sounded a little crazy.
Go down that rabbit hole, right? So if you have to go down the rabbit hole, you can tear apart, the Affordable Care Act. But then when you think about who it affected probably 90% of the people who hated it.
Yeah, it just, and that's the thing. It is about taking care of yourself, being self-serving, but at the same time, you have to be real about your privilege. You have to be, right? So I know that it's like voting. I really thought
you show up in those places and they see you. You are that one. You're that one majority.
I'm suspicious. I have some questions.
And you're entitled. You're entitled to that. For sure.
And that's why it's important when we do.
Am I being overly critical of CAMILLE because I'm programmed to question Black women who show up to do a job that they're qualified for? You know what I'm saying?
That's what we call unconscious bias.
That's what I'm saying. So I was like, okay, let me lay up on her and get to know. And I said, you know what? Just like every other Black woman, she does the job that she's paid to do.
Yes.
Right? And she's like, listen, it's not like if she wasn't prosecuting criminals. Tell me. No, Tiffany. Tiffany, that's why you're my friend, because you're like, yeah, but actually.
No, but like we said last week though. Go ahead.
There's a lens of privilege that each one of us have. Right here, because we're able to speak and advocate for ourselves.
And we choose to consider.
I
choose to consider.
Right.
I trust that when you're in the room, you're like, well, actually, that's not what they say about Black lesbians. Let me just tell you. Actually, that's not the truth about it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's for me to make that commitment. That's what I want to watch for, right?
Yes.
Because now I understand. I know that if you voted for Trump, I get that. I get you was sadly mistaken, but I get the aim. It's like playing darts, and you know where I'm trying to get. But if I end up over here and I prick you, I'm sorry. But are we still gonna be friends?
If you voted for Trump, and I can say this, if you voted for Trump,
don't curse, Tiffany.
No, I'm not gonna curse. I'm not. I've learned how to censor myself. I think if you voted for Trump, you have one selfish way of looking at life. And I can tell you for myself.
Tiffany's cutting you off.
For myself, I feel like I think about myself when I vote also, but I think about those less fortunate than myself. And the people who vote for Trump, who are less fortunate than me that I'm actually voting for. Right? I'm still voting for you, even though I know if you saw me in the street, if you saw me in the street, you would still hate me.
On the line.
But I'm still advocating for you because you'll know no better.
What about you, Twan?
I mean, I feel like, you know, in the due process, we all have our right to vote for who we want to vote for. Some people go independent, some people
go write somebody in.
Right.
Donald Trump.
Yes. Who's not even
Come
alive.
on now. But I can imagine, you know, like.
So, you know, and hearing some of the viewpoints of some of those friends, like, all I can do is respect it. Like, that's how you feel. That's how you feel. And, you know, it is what it is.
I know not to call you when I'm at. You know, but
I already know that. You know, I already know the people.
So are they your friends?
Yeah, I still think they're my friends, but you have friends that you put in different places. You know what friends you can.
I don't know if I'm gonna talk to you though. I don't know if I'm gonna talk to you. I don't know if I'm gonna call you.
It might be a hard stop.
I may not miss. I may not even wish you Happy New Year. I may not.
I don't think so.
I don't think. Are you gonna tell him Happy Birthday? I may not either. I may not even text you Happy Birthday.
I think I'm actually going to delete your number. But aside from that, we're good.
You're lucky we're still social media friends. And just because I know that I try to make a practice of following people that I don't like. You know what I mean? Because just to keep me
I do have Facebook friends still that I went to high school with that are clearly Trump supporters, right? But like anyone else in my life.
I just want to report them every time you want to report.
Like, you can literally be my friend and a Democrat and all of that, and I still won't delete you because I don't want to even give you the energy to think I thought about you enough to even do it. So I still have.
And you said a key word, energy,
right?
Because these people hold space in our life. Is that some place where we even want that energy to be?
I want to cut you off. I want to cut you off. I want to be like, here's the thing, honey.
What have you done? What have you done with all of that energy that we have fostered over the years?
I want to see your hands. Let me see
so
your
at this
hands.
point, it's like, let's just agree to disagree that we can't rock like
Put
that.
Your
we just
politics on your
can't.
mask. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I always say.
Anti-human, you don't like accents. I need you to put that on the table.
It doesn't mean that I can't love you or pray for you and wish you well.
I will not pray for them.
I think the phrase.
I will not. Mo, that's where you're like, listen, Mo, I'm not. For what? No, why do I need? It's not going to be sincere. It's not. Because of my experience in this life, I am unable to pray for you sincerely. So I'm just gonna be like, God, step out the room a little bit. Step out the room so I can say some stuff. And I
do feel like there are some Trump supporters, and this is a very biased,
Go ahead. It's hard to hate me. Hard to hate me. Do it.
You got to make a lot of money, though, right? For me to even have a conversation with you about why you would vote for Trump, you really have to make a lot of money because he's a capitalist, right? And a shrewd businessman who's a scum.
Who really cares about?
And I'm saying he's a scum, right? So he knows how to get over. And if you're that kind of capitalist who wants to make a lot of money and get over, I can see why you would vote for Trump because you care nothing about people like
rappers,
but I
hip-hop artists.
Feel like the danger with that is that we're all capitalists in this country.
Yes,
and
I am not throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
To what extent, though? To what extent do you feel
we have different levels, but then the argument then becomes, well, what's the difference between what he and the rest of us do? We're all chasing it.
Right, because that company, Cambridge
I'll tell you what the difference is for myself.
Trump win, Cambridge Analytica. There's a documentary on YouTube that actually showed that they actually also helped the Obama campaign when you know what I mean? They just choose to turn up hope, and Trump chose to turn up hate. And they also did Trinidad, all those on a lot of other countries. And they were able to help inspire something in us. Why? And who's sharing most of the misinformation? The older generation. They don't necessarily vet. They don't understand. They take a little survey. Oh, do you love your grandkids? Yes or no? And you click on it, and before you know it, access to your friends. You know what I'm saying? That is how much. So it's almost like you have the intellectual talk, the tech savvy, it needs to be injected. So we can
that's another part. That's another part of the conversation of when we talk about literacy. It's not just being able to string words together. They are dependent on us being illiterate in our democracy and how we perceive money. What is our understanding of finance? What is our understanding of education? They're like, you don't have to understand the minutia of that, right? So if you get this form, you're just going to be checking things off because there really hasn't been a context that we've had understanding of.
Until now, right?
Until now. And so, when we talk about privilege, if I've been able to get access to that understanding, my privilege is to take it back to my community. My privilege, when I do work with X, Y, and Z company or pharma, or I do something in a magazine, I've had people come after me the past few months. How dare you work with this, do this commercial or, this magazine. I see this pharma company you're working with, blah, 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 blah. But you know what I'm able to do? I'm not up there looking like Boo Boo the Fool. I'm able to string back the pieces to who the money is from, why you don't have diversity and inclusion on your board. I'm able to have these conversations. And if you cannot allow me to have that and challenge that, then I can't work with you. But it's not just about me taking the money and getting exposure and not seeing that someone else is not benefiting from it. Yes, I want to be part of capitalism, but it better benefit.
The only in the room sometimes. Yeah. Because if hopefully you are aware of what you represent and who you may be representing for subconsciously based on how people are inspired or how they're looking at you in the room. You can't control that, right? But at the same time, you also can't take on the burden to be an experience for everybody else. It's up to them to do the emotional lifting, because I'm also here to do a job. I'm also here with my own ambition. I worked. I didn't just arrive.
You didn't just arrive and show up.
Do you know what I'm saying? And who knows? So it's like so then going to the question topic of the show, I guess maybe is there too much involvement or I guess emotional involvement? I guess maybe that should have been the better question. Are we putting our emotions and our inspiration in this Biden-Harris team when it comes to our economic security, when it comes to our safety, when it comes to our wealth opportunities and growth? What do you feel?
So this goes back to me talking earlier about Kimberly Foster and for Harriet when she was saying about how there are basically different types of people in this democratic life that we have, right? And so I feel like because of social media, and I have to say that because of things like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all of those things, we are more invested in what we want people to think about what we think about the election. But trust me, after January 18th or whatever day, President-elect Biden and President-elect Vice President Kamala are going to be in, everybody's going to go back to their everyday going to work,
regularly scheduled racism.
But there will be those progressives who are like, you know what, we got to keep our feet on the ground. We got to keep and that is what we need
to keep it going. Right. And so that is the default, right? Because of our history, right? But we have a choice.
But that's why I say we're all a part of capitalism, because that's a great point. I feel like every big movement we have, 3-4 months go by, and we completely forget about it.
And then it fizzles out.
Unfortunately, and this is not necessarily our issue, we're a part of a system that was not created for us, and we have no alternative.
Right.
So what else do we want to do but be a part of a system that we have no alternative for?
Right.
And it's like what Monique said about it originally when you were talking about like protesting and wanting to be a part of that particular way of showing up, and then having to just realize like, listen, I'm in spaces to, it's about being effective, right? It's about having affect, because sometimes the cause is you. You know what I'm saying? Like you can say, Camille, as my friend, I'm gonna really need you to be more conscious of ABC. Who's the cause? The cause is you. Right? So it's up to me to make a conscious decision to say, okay, Twan, But then you'd be like, well, girl, you can get a little slip up because we have that duality.
And what is
and you know what? Even if we are just going back to our jobs and going back to school, there's a responsibility that we have with us. We go to our jobs having them address cultural competency.
Yeah.
Okay, you put out your mission statement.
But they can't even get our safety right at the job. So I don't even know why we're advocating to go back to the job when
and that's
you don't
right.
even got
So
the
all
COVID.
of that, that's exactly.
So going back to your point, Monique, I think part of the activism is action, right? So we can just see her on the surface going to a Pfizer, right? Now we already know they have a vaccine, but what if she's going there on some other stuff, talking to their cultural
and what if
diversity
your own particular cocktail of medications, you do need to have certain conversations with certain people that listen. That's why you gotta look at the board, honey. The board the board sometimes a certain company is like
you gotta know who the board is.
But I get it. Like, okay, I was watching this movie on Netflix, and they were talking about like sexual harassment. That it was around sexual harassment, and one of the lawyers who was prosecuting someone who violated, who sexually harassed someone, they were saying, listen, when I first came out of law school, I was a junior, and there was a senior law partner who asked me out on 3-4 different occasions. He was 10 years my senior. Now I'm with him. We've been married 21 years, have 3 beautiful children. In today's climate, would he be someone abusing his position, asking me 3 outs and persisting and persisting and persisting? Would he be?
If she thought so, then.
But that's what I'm saying. But if it's like if we, I'm bringing that up because sometimes it's like we want something and we can name it and we're like, yes, this is what it is. But there's no fluidity, there's no consent, there's no, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like we want something so absolute, and there's part of the generation that they just was gonna vote for Obama because he black. They're gonna advocate for CAMILLE just because she is what it is. When do we let go of that, but also still keep in mind that it is real?
But we have to recognize that those people in the world will exist, and it is okay for them to exist in the world just on that alone. If you agree on that alone, you know what? Thank you. Please see you at the poll at 6 a.m.
Yes.
But then again, like I do think that there are other people who are with their foot on the ground continuously doing, because I think everything counts, right? And it's almost like you know how you would be at a war and everybody rushing. It's always those people in the front.
Yes.
Those are the ones who right? They're ready.
Yeah.
People
They're the most ready, running with the chest.
I refuse to say where I would be at in there. I may be in the back.
So listen, I'm gonna make a level and say it with your chest season.
Right, yes.
Say it with your chest season.
I agree with that.
I want to see your politics up front. I want put your hands. What Busta Rhymes said, put your hands where my eyes can see. I want to see it.
Well, I feel like with that, if we're all moving parts, everybody doesn't even have the language or the understanding to say it with their chest.
So do we
say that, Twan?
It's like
so do you because so then if you have a certain so okay, Twan,
tell him to say that again for the back
queue. You have a certain
queue.
rhetoric, right, Twan? You have a certain rhetoric. You can speak to certain things, right? So when you go into a room and you're just having a regular conversation, you ain't really trying to be all like that. But guess what? That's just what you're giving, right? So do you continue to show up the way that it needs to be the most effective, which is as intellectual, as articulate, as cultured as you are, as seasoned with your sauce and the flavor, underlining everything? I don't want you to take any of that away because that is part of the effect. Right? So that's what I'm advocating for, is for us to not take out an ounce because everything needs to be used. Kamala was doing the Kamala Harris was doing the whoa. Was that too much? Y'all saw her trying to. I posted on my page. She was going right through the whoa. I don't even know how to
do it right.
Some type of situation. But my thing is that too improper? Is that too much too early? No. Because she's Jamaican. Next minute it's gonna be butterfly on the lawn.
It depends on who your gauge or your measure of what too much.
Right, but 11 years ago, Michelle Obama caused an uproar just by showing her arms. There was constant issues with Michelle Obama. I mean, emails. Why it's wintertime? Why does she have her arms out? Well, I guess she works out because she wants to show her arms. And she's like, What if she's hot? Maybe she's going to.
But you know who drove that? Media drove that. Media drove that.
Media, but here's the thing: the media gave us an insight to the conversations that were being talked about our first lady that prevented her from being as effective.
But where have we seen that video about her doing the well? Only on Instagram. We've not seen it anywhere. Trust me. If we were in another climate, they would have put that on Fox News already.
Right, but we got to meet people where they're at. People are getting their news from Instagram, right? So listen, if you had a versus that got to 1 million people, where CAMILLE was at, she came right to the verses.
Monica and Brandy, absolutely.
She came right to, and I didn't particularly appreciate having my verses interrupted, because the verses was supposed to be for my health, my mental health. I was already spending time on CNN.
Can we talk about that next Tuesday then? Because it was a little slow for me.
I'm just saying, this is a disclaimer. I love the I appreciate Michelle Obama. Oh, love you. I'm just saying, when I tune into the verses, it is for me to reminisce, to reflect. I don't want the politicals. I don't want the ads. Don't sell me nothing. Don't sell me nothing but Patty's shoes. Don't sell me nothing but Patty's pants. Give me Brandy's new verse. Give me Monica's outfit.
You know why I think
that's what I want.
I think they did that only because
because they had space and opportunity, and I am saying that they have to have certain things that are just like, I get it. That's why she can't, get off the pandering backpack off. She's still gonna have to carry. People think that she's pandering because it's like, but I understand you got to play the game, so I'm forgiving with it. That's why.
And it's important for us to remember, we have been at this for so long. Some of us are at a breaking point, and I know we want to be able to be hyper vigilant. We want to keep running. But I will just say this one thing. There's going to be rest that we need, and that power is going to come from our rest. Our revolution is going to come through the rest.
The revolution will not be on social media, I'll tell you that.
We can't have this narrative of them thinking that we're going to be performative, that we need to be seen doing these things, because they brought Black people over here to be workhorses. Guess what? We're not going to continue to be workhorses. We need to rest too, to be productive.
And let me tell the Caribbean community, let me tell you about that. Caribbean, we came here from chain migration. We came here, we came here, right? So know that your contribution is valid.
Is valid.
Know that you were here. You are part of the pioneers.
Yes.
As many people who are inspired by Shirley Chisholm, she was Bajan, okay? Harry Belafonte was from Bahamas or something like that. Right?
Sorry.
Sidney Poitier came from some island.
Yes.
Okay, I heard Farrakhan was from some island too. I am just saying that the leaders had roots. So when it comes to who has equity, who we can be inspired by, the first chop is their Blackness. Just like Kamala Harris.
And can I just say that I agree with that as, a Black American who, as you probably know or don't know, love the Caribbean. When it comes to,
you're my mass road sister.
I have a honorary thing, but I don't like to put that out.
You are honorary Caribbean, I think. Yeah, we're not sure which country we're gonna give you, but
right. I don't know. But
she got a couple.
I think I have a lot.
I think it's Trinidad.
I have a lot, But what I want to say though is that, and I always have said this before because I've had conversations with my Caribbean friends. At a certain point, we are Black, right? So if me and you are walking, if we're walking down the street and we don't say nothing about anything, they don't know anything about that. And so when we put it in that kind of simple context, right? Because as Black people, we're very complex and very, I think, intellectual and all of those things. But you got to break it all the way down to like the fundamental, right? Walking down the street, what do they see when they look at me and you? They see Black. So once they see that, just know that I'm fighting for all of us. Like I'm pretty sure you're fighting for, for me and all of that. And there are definitely
just like we could be in spaces talking about body positivity. We could be in spaces talking about weight loss journey and our nutrition and our journey back to health and just balancing our, our foodie, and all of that, right?
We're in this together.
People,
that's
right?
What I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying. So the more you show of yourself, the more you tell your politics up front, you know, I hope that you're in spaces that give you a little space to kind of breathe without like you having to be always politically correct.
Yes.
We may
and
not, right?
You have to nurture that, right, Tiffany?
And I can be corrected, like, you know. Twan to be like, girl, stop saying that about, come on, stop with the thing.
But you know, I think we never have to do that because I think we pretty much, we know how to read the room. I think it's a natural thing that we do.
Is the word.
Right?
Tiffany.
I get to come back next week.
Tiffany,
thank you.
That is it. You just summed it up. You see, reading the room. Read the room. Read the room. Twan. Okay, Twan saying read it, honey.
Or get read.
Okay.
Read the room and get read.
You know what? Because if you don't read the room, you will get read.
Right.
You'll get read.
Right.
You don't read the room, you will get read. Okay? And then don't get your feelings hurt. And then like you turn into a Karen and you're like,
trying to be very nice about this. You're taking us in a whole other direction.
Right.
Trust it to be 9:55 and then now we get turned. But listen, this is how important these conversations are, and I'm so blessed to have you guys, you know, on here with me, that I could learn from, that I could feel comfortable.
And I wish Black Issues could have stayed
Yes.
on because she was great. Because Monique, you were amazing.
Monique.
Amazing. I love you so much.
And listen, I feel so much more. I feel comfortable her being.
Can you come bring your face to the camera, please?
Tiffany
You're hiding
wants
out on the
see-
side, like outside.
Camera.
I love you. Do you see me?
No, man, I can't see your face. Come around.
It's this.
I'm
it's this.
sorry.
Yeah, take. Go ahead, Tiffany.
I love you so
Go
much.
and give
I
me a
really
little-
do.
Sister.
Tiffany, hold it. You know how to do a selfie. Stop acting old. You know, you're like, where's the volume at?
Okay.
No, you've been great, and I really quick. I have like 20 seconds, I think. I just want to say that I actually didn't know that you knew Camille at all.
Remember my conscious click? She was there.
But wait a minute. So what I'm saying is, when you put the post up today,
okay.
I saw that you were going to come
her.
on, but I just want to say congratulations on being an influencer. I think of the year or for the year.
Yes. Do you have your check
yeah.
yet? Do you have your blue check? Are you getting your blue check? I feel like that's coming for you.
I can't even tell you what this. There'll be another conversation about this year. How this year God has truly opened the windows of heaven in spite of everything, in spite of the loss, in spite of the grief. Stick to what you're called to do. That's what I got to tell people. No matter what space you're in, stick to what you're called to do.
Stick to it. What are you looking forward to for 20? I know we have like a few minutes. What are you looking forward to as you voted? What's around the corner for you?
You go first, too.
What's around the corner for you? What are you looking at? What are you looking at?
I mean this for real, and I've been wanting this for years, so I want it still now. I really do want to inspire young Black and brown and any girl and boy out there to do whatever you can, and you know, and I want to be able to do that as a Black person.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you can teach people how to research, because Tiffany.
I hope so.
I love the rabbit hole research, right? But just the basic fundamentals, and I'm hoping that you human me on here, so we'll go through some stuff, because I think.
Oh, after the show, because.
Yes. Okay. Twan.
Got it. So I'm looking forward to wellness, and whether that's mental, physical. I'm looking forward to 2021 being all
the year of wellness.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
Mo, what are you looking forward to around the corner?
What did Tiffany say?
No, Tiffany was real deep a second ago. Now she was trying to inspire. Mo, what are you looking forward to? For around the corner? What's up next for you?
Honestly, what I'm looking for is for some of the seeds that God has helped me to plant in other people's lives. I'm looking for them to come to fruition. So it's not just me next year. I'm really looking to see how some of the connections that I've made, some of the things that I've been doing, I don't feel like this is just about me. So next year, I'm looking to see those partnerships, those connections. I'm looking to see them thrive in the process.
Oh my gosh.
What are you looking forward to next year?
I am looking forward to the opportunity to have these type of conversations possible. I'm looking forward to being able to think of weird ideas and having people bite the apple and like,
Okay,
yeah, we're gonna go
weird
through that.
Too, so okay.
Weird ideas work.
Okay.
Listen, this has been Hard to Hate Me. We've been talking about whether we are investing too much. Well, we've come to the conclusion that maybe it's emotional investment, right? But it's not a lack of awareness. We need to continue to be on the ball and be observant, do our due diligence, really get down to the analytical, get your inner Libra, your inner Virgo, and really get in there to the details. And if you can't do it alone, Hard to Hate Me, we can break down some things. Send us some topics. Send us some topics that you want. You guys know the Instagram, Twan T. At Twan T. We're gonna put it there. At Golden Mo. Okay, for everything empowerment. At Opinionated Diva.
Yep.
Okay. At In a Major Way. At Hard to Hate Me. But listen, you know that's what cameras. See, that's why they scared, because you know cameras gonna have.
Don't let me get my flag. Don't let me get my flag. All right, come now.
Come on now. Listen, what you think Labor Day time is gonna be like in New York?
I think 2021 we gotta just bring it back.
Unlock the culture. This has been Hard to Hate Me, guys. This has been such a fruitful conversation. I learned so much. I appreciate everything that I learned today. Hopefully nothing was misleading. Take what you can, okay? We're not perfect. This is just our thoughts and opinions. Hard to Hate Me live. Love you.
Love you.
Thank you, Monique. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Twan, where are you, my dear?
Bye. Thank you. Great.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes, thank you. Oh my God.
Bandwidth. We are the best in entertainment online, period. Good music, good times. Where the culture lives.